Welcome news tonight as there's significant containment in those devastating fires destroying thousands of acres of land in western Nebraska. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Erin Sullivan. The Omaha Fire Department tells us their crews have returned from fighting the Morrill fire. We have updated promising numbers to share on how crews have fought the flames. WatchDuty.org tells us nearly all of the Morrill fire, 98%, is now contained. And 80%, more than 3/4 of the Cottonwood fire, is out. Omaha Fire says they were honored and privileged to help out fellow Nebraskans. Taking a live